Hello, my friends. I don't know if you are experiencing the same as I am right now, but it seems like when I talk to people, either side of the left, right, wrong, whatever you want to call it, there's an absolute conviction that they are right, and they can back it up with articles, videos, YouTubes, blog posts, anything. It's like this, see, and I can send you something so you can see that I'm right from this side. And what do you think is happening on the other side? Exactly the same. Exactly the same. So you got to wonder, you can't just get stuck in like, I'm right the way I'm seeing it because I can back it up with all these things here. And it you it doesn't work. It cannot be true that both sides are so equally convinced that the way they are seeing it is right. I would say a number of years ago, maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago, it was not this polarized. Maybe a lot more was hidden. Maybe it's because a lot more is coming out these days from alternative outlets, or maybe there really are two equally true narratives happening at the same time. Now let's just pause there for a moment. Just take that in for a moment. Your narrative, your conviction, your arguments are equally true as the totally opposite on this side. There's not one that's right. There's not one that's wrong. Now what? Now what? What you gonna do? If this is really true, I'm not saying it is, but I'm suggesting it. I'm suggesting it so we can all take a step back from our absolute emotional attachment to thinking that we are right in what we believe, in who we trust, who we believe in, so deeply programmed into us that we have to be right. I don't know if it's kind of maybe it's a matter of survival, that if we are right, if we're not right, we're wrong. And then, all hell breaks loose. I don't know. But let's just imagine that there are these totally opposing sides and they're equally true. Now what? How is that possible to a mind that is so programmed into that things are dualistic, right, wrong, good, evil? That's what the mind does. It's the only thing the mind does. It's like this sense of oneness comes through the mind and it splits off in right, wrong, good, bad, left, right, blue, red, up, down, whatever it is. It's all duality. And we all grasp onto one of them that we believe in, and we're sticking to it. And what does that mean? What does that do for you? Maybe it does something for you. Maybe it gives you a sense of that you actually exist, that you have the right to live, whatever. But it's something we need to explore, each one of us. But what if they're both equally true? And they are in this dimension, because in this dimension, that is how it works. In this dimension, everything that comes in is seen through a lens of duality. And that is what we are all doing, because it's such a political active time right now, we so polarized with the left and the right. And I do not know what it's going to take for more people to at least take a step back and see it for what it is without being so right about it. When I talk to people, that I see as the most challenging thing for most people, to let go of their emotional attachment to the duality of the world. Right now, the political scene. So hard. So as I'm repeating that, I want to just invite you to just check in with yourself. Are you putting your energy into dualistic worldview where you or just think that this is right? Now, if we look at it from a little bit of a wider perspective and realize that we actually live in a field of infinite possibilities, infinite potential, anything is possible, because everything is just energy that can be formed, shaped, birthed into anything. And we can funnel it in through the mind into duality, or we can hang out here a little longer and let it show us what it is when it's not funneled through our mind. It's going to be a very, very different experience. We can say, let it be funneled through our heart. In my experience, my heart is the mouthpiece of God. And that's why I have my inner ear always tuned in here, to just like, okay. And then I get this sense of yes or no, or, movement or not movement. It's that flow that I've talked about so often. And when I'm in here, the duality has no existence, really. It has no interest. It is happening. I can't deny it because I still experience life through my mind, but I am attaching to it less and less and less. For many years, I've just done this unclutching, letting go. And every time I do that, I can stay here and let it inform me what is really true. So in this dimension, both sides are equally true or equally not true. There's really no truth in any of them, except as an experience of reality that one is right and one is wrong. That can only happen in our minds. So what we see out there is literally a projection from our mind, from the dualistic mind that sees everything opposing each other. So if you keep fighting for one side is right and the other side is wrong, you're just feeding that dualistic energy. That's really all that's happening. Seriously, that's all that's happening. And that's why I want to just keep bringing that out here. Just maybe you go like, let me just see what would happen if I do not feed my righteousness, my taking sides, my pointing fingers, my feeling like, yeah, but I have the proof here, and here's another post, and here's another article, here's another expert. And as soon as we have that, whoops, the other one comes with the exact same reason that is wrong, because I can back it up with this post and this article and this YouTube video. They're both there, guys. And we have to start seeing it, because if you don't see it, you will keep battling. You will keep giving all your energy to this illusion that we're living in, this mind projected illusion. And nothing will change as long as we live in there. So as I've been talking about, shifting, splitting timelines, which I'm not an expert in by any means, but I am really, really tuned in to that there is something else moving here, and I'm making myself available to it. And it's very, very different than this duality. So I'm doing everything I can to just not engage. I mean, I am engaging as in, you know, being witnessing, observing what's going on. I do that for sure. I'm not just sticking my head in the sand. And that's why I can see, like, oh, wow, this person says this, and then you get the exact opposite. And when they say the exact opposite, this person here will prove this person wrong. And that's how it goes back and forth. I really want you to see that that is happening. And you can only see that when you just take a step back and be quiet. And the part that we need to make quiet is the mind that wants to be right and prove that it's right and prove that you're wrong. That is what's happening in the world in a very, very intense way. And if I can just, by sharing this over and over, if I can just reach a few people where they go like, oh, that's interesting. That's actually true. Every time I say this, somebody else will prove me wrong and vice versa. And when they say this, I can say, well, no, that's not true because I've read this. This is happening. It's happening. We need to see that. And to me, it's getting more and more obvious. I didn't see that in the beginning either. I thought I was right about what I saw, and I still feel moved. I still have a resonance with things, but I'm curious how the opposite is happening at the same time. And that's why I'm like, wow, this is very interesting. So my place, my abiding place is definitely in the space around me, in the field, in the in the in that outer expression that is not coming to be dense as physicality. That is where I tune in. And so much of my day, even if I talk to somebody or listen to somebody, I always feel tuned in to kind of hear or hear. It's really all the same, but I just keep going back here, no matter what's happening out there, to my best ability. I'm not perfect at anything, and then just let it show me what is true here. There is no truth in any of what we're seeing out there. And that may be a shock to a lot of people because, my God, Pernilla, how can you deny that? Look at it, just open your eyes and look. I know. But that's still the mind. It's only true in the mind. It's only true in a dream. It's only true as an overlay, as a veil that has been covering us. There, it is 100% true. And if we want to live there, then that will be our truth, and we will be able to prove it over and over and over. How many times have you been able to bring in proof that somebody has treated you badly or that you were not at fault, and you can prove that they did it to you, right? And you can prove, if you believe that, nobody loves me, you can prove it, like this person and this situation, and we can prove it because it's happening in here. It's a real experience in the mind. So we can prove it. That's why it's so real, because if we are only staying here and not aware that what's in here is projected out there, and then it's feeding back to us what we are projecting out. And I know this is really hard to get. It takes a deep, deep commitment to really want to see that. And I don't know that everybody has that, such a deep commitment or such a deep longing for it, which is what I talk a lot about. I must say for myself, I'm like, that's what I came here for, to really see through this. And that's why, it's my ongoing practice to come in here, tune in, and let it show me what is true, because I know that this is not true, what the world is sending back to me. And there are definitely times where it feels really true. If you are in a situation like what's been going on in North Carolina, if I was there right now, it would feel really true, and I would do everything I could to whatever I needed to do to survive, or maybe I wouldn't. I don't know. So again, I'm not denying any of it, but we can move through this when things are not too intense. We really need to practice it. If you've never practiced it, you can't do it suddenly if you're in a hurricane. That's impossible. But if you practice a little each day, you will be able to keep that, stay in the eye of the hurricane, your I am, stay there, even as it's swirling around and doing its thing. And, who knows, anything can happen. But the more we can do that as a practice in our daily life, when it's not too intense, when it's not life threatening. So we start practice that. We start practice letting go of our emotional attachment. And I always say it's the emotional attachment, because I'm not talking about a spiritual bypass where we just say, oh, it's not real, put your head in the sand. No, no, we meet it head on. But if we can meet it head on without the emotional attachment, it is so different. It is so, so different. And I'm sure many of you already know that. But the more we can make that a practice, a daily practice, a moment to moment practice, we become that new frequency that is coming in, that's going to take us away from this duality. So we're not going to try and change the duality. We're just kind of unhooking from it. And the more we unhook, the less energy is given to this. So that in itself will already soften that illusionary projection, because we're not feeding it. So, and then we can start letting us be moved into something that we don't know what is. But when you feel that, and when it gets stronger because you keep giving yourself to that, you start putting your attention to it. It's like you drop into that flow, a different timeline, and you just let it take you. And it's not like an outside, untrustworthy energy. It is you. It is you, and you're connecting with that I am in you, which is everywhere. So it's like this ocean you're in, but now you're not out there in the ripples where it's scary and you have to survive. You're just here, and you can let that undercurrent take you. And it feels good. There's something in there that you can trust and that you want. And it's very strongly connected to what you long for. It's actually the same in my experience. So the more we can drop in there and let it take us, and then see what happens. But until we are clasping on, clutching on to this third dimensional experience, we don't have much energy to put it here and let it move us in a very, very different direction and into a very different experience. So I know I keep talking about this because this is so alive in me, and it's just because I've been feeding it. So then it starts feeding me, and then it becomes this same thing. It's one thing that's expressing itself both through voice and through experience. It's the same thing. And, I guess I want to invite you along if any of this resonates with you. And if it doesn't, keep playing in the duality. That's certainly allowed. Nobody's telling you you shouldn't do that. It's just an invitation from my side. If you want to maybe try and see if there's another timeline where you don't have to battle so hard.